everybody. I hope you are doing well. It is a new month, so I cannot believe months just keep coming up, don't they? They just keep coming. Hey, Clayton, how are you doing, my dear? Oh, my goodness, get on and already have somebody that I know. I hope you are doing well, Clayton. Good to see you. Good to see you. It's been way too long. So, welcome to Michelle's Inspiration Show. I hope that this inspires you for the rest of the week because, like I said, this is a brand new month for you to get inspired. And I do have a guest on that I'm going to introduce in just a few minutes who I think will inspire you because I think he has so much more. Should I say guts about doing anything about leaving the country? I have such, fear of doing that. So I'm really, really excited about it. All right. Hey, Tammy, how are you doing, my dear? Glad you could make it. And I know, hopefully, that you are not working because I know it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But if you were in Texas, and Clayton will definitely let me know about this, is that it is like 100 degrees with a heat index of over 100. So, absolutely. So that's why you're inside watching this. So, Tammy, how are you doing? Oh my goodness, it's my birthday Thursday. Oh my gosh, it just moved up. I'm trying to read it. I know I miss you tons. Oh, I read Clayton's there too. Tammy, maybe you miss me tons too. So Tammy says it's my birthday Thursday, so month of celebration. Yeah, so we'll celebrate you, Tammy. Every time I come in on, I'll have to say, "Happy birthday, Tammy! Happy birthday!" Yeah, and I like the comment from Clayton. It says it's hotter than hell. So, well, and hey, let me tell you something. My daughter got married this last weekend, and guess what? It was outside, but it was among trees. So the trees did the good shading and everything. And it was actually pretty good until we started taking pictures. So when we get the pictures back, I'll see all my sweat coming down and everything. Yeah, but or my hair kind of sweating down too. But we had a fantastic time. So, yeah, so that was definitely a thing to celebrate. And I know definitely after a wedding, you just have that crash. You're really tired. And yeah, so anyway, so I am so glad that you are. Thank you for joining us. All right, so I am really excited about introducing our guest. And I actually have the book right here. And, it's very interesting because I remember it's all about Berlin and the when the wall came down. I actually remember seeing it on TV. So, and again, I'm really excited to introduce our guest, and I'm going to read. So, I'm hopefully I can say it without my glasses. So, Erez Agam was born in Israel in the 1980s. From a young age, the topic of immigration attracted him. After growing up, he began traveling in many countries around the world until he decided that he was interested in immigrating and therefore chose Germany at his destination country. Erez arrived in Berlin without any connections, but only with a suitcase. At the end, he described his, at the end, he described his migration journey to Germany from the beginning to end. In addition, he is an expert in the field of sales, and this is his real passion. And again, he immigrated to Berlin, and I'm so excited to get him on to see what inspired him to actually go there. So let's go ahead and get him on. I can't say anything else. I want him to come. Hello, hello.
Thanks,
How are
Michelle.
you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, absolutely. And as I was reading your book, I was going, oh, my audience is going to love this inspiration because, again, I know that you had just luggage on the airplane, got one way ticket to Germany. And I'm thinking, what would I put in that one suitcase? Now, did you have more than one suitcase or just one suitcase?
Well, I actually had a trolley and a backpack. That's how I.
Okay. Oh my gosh. And that, and there again, that is, you got motivated to do it. Now, let me ask you, and we'll talk about the book for sure, but tell us what really inspired you because I know there's so many countries out there. So, what inspired you to go, I am going to Germany?
Yes, well, Michelle, it's quite a story because, as you mentioned, the topic of immigration attracted me from a very young age, and growing up in the 1980s, I was exposed to a lot of political issues and a lot of tension. The Middle East. I grew up in the Middle East. We had lots of tension, and the situation escalated over the years. So I always wanted to leave. I didn't see myself. I had a desire to explore, to travel, and indeed, when I grew up, I started to travel to many destinations, and then I sat down with myself and realized that I I I really asked myself, where do I see myself in the next 10 years? How do I see my future? How do I shape my future? And the will to immigrate was always in me because I never felt that I belonged into my native country. I disagree with a lot of things. In my book, it's not a politically correct book. I also criticize my native country, and I think that the fact that you were born and raised in a certain country doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have to live there for the rest of your life. So it's all about freedom. It's all about democracy, freedom. We have a choice in life, and I want people to understand that we have a choice. You as individual, you have power. You have no idea how much power you have as an individual, and it's all about what do you want to do in life, and what is it that you have to do to get there, and you have a choice, and that's why I wrote the book, because you know we are living now in a global, we are having global changes all over the world, and immigration is a really really hot topic, and people are relocating and immigrating all the time, and now it's easier to immigrate more than ever, because of technology, because of the information that we have all around us. And that's why I wrote a book, because immigration, you gotta understand, immigration is a hidden topic.
Mhm.
It's Nobody talks about it. See that governments have interest that the citizens will not leave their native countries, because once you leave, you will not pay taxes anymore. They lose you as a citizen, and that's why they do not encourage you to immigrate.
Mm.
That's why you gotta be open minded. You gotta explore, and that's why when I've done my traveling, I was able to explore and gain lots of knowledge about the world, about what's going on. And for me, because I didn't feel that I wanted to live in my native country, and I criticized my native country all the time. And once again, on top of that, I had this old dream that I wanted to immigrate. Um, I guess for me, I really really sat down with myself, and then I decided that that's it. I want to immigrate. This is my dream. This is my passion. This is what I'm going to do. And then I researched about several destinations. As you know, we have a huge world with lots of
Mhm.
countries: the US, UK, Canada, Australia, Sweden. And one of the reasons why I did not want to immigrate to an English speaking country is because I had a desire to learn a new language. And we'll get to that, but this was one of the main reasons why I chose Germany as my immigration destination. So the desire to learn a new language, and it happens to be that I really like German language. I like the accent. I find it to be very elegant language. Um, it motivated me a lot, and that was the first reason why I chose Germany. The second reason, I really like the European model, the social economic model. You and I, we come from a capitalistic countries, so we need to work hard and dedicate time. And we always think about materialism, and how do we buy the next car, or the next house. And I guess in Germany it's a bit different. They care more about experiences. They care more about maybe more into personal encounters, and personal meetings with one another. And that's why I find it to be very, very beautiful. So for me, it was not all about working hard, getting rich, and do all that stuff. I want to experience, and I really like the European social economic model, because it also allow you to have the work life balance. So you have rights as an employee, and also as a renter, whether you are renting a place, whether you're working in a specific company as a salaried employee, you have rights, and you have contracts, and I think it's great, because this is how it should be. And not all of us are meant to be entrepreneurs and make money. And people who work in simple jobs like teachers, cleaners, and so on, need to have a decent life too. And if you're a successful person, you can be successful everywhere. But then again, you want equality. You want to live in a good environment, and this is the fundamentals. In my opinion, I think that if I'm going to be successful, I want to know that I'm in a good environment. I'm in a good society. So what that actually drew me even more to Germany, because I knew that here the cost of living is not that high. So you live in the US, so the cost of living in New York City, for example, or in California, are very high. But in Berlin, the cost of living is pretty low and reasonable. Once again, we are talking about reasonable prices, and a high quality of life. In addition, I live in Berlin, and it's not so industrial. You have lots of green parks, green areas. That's why I find it very, very appealing. So that was my second reason. The third reason, Michelle, we're talking about the strongest economy in Europe. So Germany has the strongest economy in Europe, and also we are as residents and citizens are able to have good conditions, as I mentioned. Um, and it also, as I mentioned, combined between social economic model and capitalistic one. And also, it has a low crime rate, so it feels really, really safe to walk around the streets. And the fourth reason was actually my Israeli passport, and this is what I would like to explain, because this is the most interesting one in my opinion. I've been doing my research, Michelle, and when I've done the research, I found out that Germany has a list of privileged countries. What does it mean exactly? It means that even if you do not possess a European passport, but you are a citizen of one of those countries, you can come to Germany, just take a suitcase like I did, come to Germany, and do the bureaucratic procedure from within. You don't need a visa prior to your arrival. And for me, it was very appealing. I knew that once I will reach Germany, I will be able to find a job or a source of income, and then set up my status from within. And it was very attractive for me. And and that's what I did basically. And that's why I was able to write the book, because I immigrated from scratch, and by doing so, I found out all the secrets that will not be available on any other source.
Mhm.
And those were my main reasons basically. Now I found out more, like the fact that Germany is one of the most humanitarian countries in the world. That's why it accepts a lot of refugees. And you know I find it to be also great. People are able to come here, the acceptance, the tolerance. And I found out more during my journey. I found out more and more reasons, like great front transportation, the fact that I don't have to buy my own car. I travel around freely. I have a yearly public transport card, and I pay much less. It saves me a lot of headache. and once again, it adds to the quality of life. But general speaking, I see that a lot of Americans and Canadians nowadays are coming to Germany. I think they are more curious about the culture. They have desire to learn new language, I guess, and it's a trend now. Immigration is booming now in Germany.
And I know that in your book, you did mention that a lot of the country, there's a lot of youth and a lot of people immigrating to Germany. So that almost like opens it up. It's like, oh, everybody is new. Everybody's experiencing how Germany, it just sounds like it's shaping and becoming its own. And which is very, very exciting. But yes, when I read that you had to learn a new language, especially Germany. Is German difficult to learn?
Well, some people say it's more difficult than other languages.
Yeah.
But as you read through the book, I was really, really eager to learn the language. In fact, I found comfort in my German studies because I experienced so many difficulties. And when I learned the German language, it actually I was escaping from all of those difficulties. So I've done it with fun. I've done it with love, with passion, and this is what the important thing. So even if it will take you 5, 7, 8, 10 years, you'll still enjoy the process. So I guess it's all about your approach and your will to learn the German language at the end.
Well, and I again was very impressed at everything that you had to go through. And when you read your book, it's almost like I'm reading everything that went on. It was like a journal that you wrote. And yes, you give a lot of information about how to immigrate to Germany, but we also learn a lot about you because you had to you had several different roommates and that the rent was a nightmare. You had to change jobs, and people were most of the time nice but sometimes unpleasant, and just having to go through the process and learning a whole new culture. So it's almost like I was rooting for you the whole way. I'm going, I don't know if I would have stuck around, because that to me, you had the gushing just to continue and say, I'm going to stay regardless of what happens.
Exactly, exactly. For me, it was like a matter of life or death.
Mhm.
I was absolutely not going to go back. I wanted a better future. I wanted to see. The thing is with immigration, when you immigrate, of course, you at the end you'll have a better life, but your children, the next generation, you provide them a better life too. Think about it for a second.
That's
So
right.
the change is internal. So immigration is a very emotional process. It's a life changing process,
Mhm.
and that's why you need to have the right mindset. And as I mentioned, I took it as my life mission because for me there was no other alternative. And about the difficulties, I must mention. People ask me, "What would you do differently? What would you change?" I wouldn't change anything because the more difficulties, the more you learn. So the way I saw it, if somebody tells you right now, Michelle, hey, come to Germany, we'll give you an apartment, a job, even a European passport, just come. When you will run into a certain difficulty in the future, you will not have the tools to solve them because everything was granted.
Mm.
And I think the more apartment you switch, the more you know the contract. The more difficulties you have at the workplace, the more you know about your rights as a salaried employee. And now I have a lot of knowledge, and I'm very grateful for that knowledge. And I also stated in the book that you learn to appreciate the little thing in life. The
Mhm.
fact that you have hot water, the fact that you have a place to stay, and I think immigration is a very, very unique journey, and most of the people will not going to go through that journey because if you look at your close friends, your close circles, most of them will not going to go through an immigration process. Most of them will live in the U.S. for the rest of their lives, and that's why I think people who are doing the process, I think they have a better perspective, maybe a different perspective about life. I guess it's kind of like to be a world traveler.
Mhm.
You are being exposed for to you gain a lot. You gain a lot of knowledge.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I went to your website and I found this statement. I absolutely loved it. About immigration spirit. And I love how you put it. It's the toughness and mental state of mind of the immigrant to withstand all of the difficulties of the immigration process and move forward. Immigration spirit plus desire to stay at all cost in the destination country equals key to success. And I love that. And I thought, oh my goodness, because again, like you said, I think people get comfortable. They've got friends, they have family. And so it would be very difficult to immigrate to a different country. But your parents, I thought it was really awesome that you mentioned that your parents were very supportive. It seems like they came, they wanted to see where you were. And so, as a parent, I think that is really awesome that they were able to, come to the country and see where you were. After you said, bye, I'm going to start a new life. Because as a parent, that's kind of difficult because you're thinking, oh, I hope everything is okay and I hope it goes well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the end, parents wants their kids to live. I think to do what's good for them. I mean, we all individual. We all have different desires, and I think at the end, the fact that parents are being open minded, and you gotta understand, Germany changed completely. It's
Mhm.
back then, when you said the word Germany, people immediately thought about World War II, the Holocaust. Even now, people who never visited the country, they still stuck in that mind. Um, but the country changed completely. It's a different country, and right now people are immigrating all around the world, from all around the world, and coming to Germany. And I think it's great. And I think the fact that the country changed completely, I think it's wonderful. I think
Mhm.
within such a short time, Berlin is now the most popular city, the most popular immigration destination in Europe. Think about it. After the World War II, everybody escaped Berlin.
Mhm.
So I think now it only shows the willingness to the how the country changed, which is amazing.
And I think your book, I know that a lot of people are going, well, I don't want to go to Germany. I might want to go to a different country. And I think with your story, I think it really will help them to say, well, this is things that you can do in a different country. It may be a different process that they have to go through to immigrate to that country, but it kind of gives, again, when you read it, you can see that spirit of yours, being so brave and saying, I'm going to do what I need to do and I'm going to do it. And so I think that your book inspires people. It gives knowledge, but it also inspires people watching you be able to do it. But let's go to your website because I know when I was reading the book, I was going, oh, I wish I could see what the places he was actually talking about. So I'm going to screen share real quick so that we can see it. Let's see. And when I found your blog, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I've got to send people here so that they can actually see it." Okay? And so there are some pictures here that you take pictures that are mentioned in your book. And I know this is this the hostel hotel that you lived in?
Exactly, that's the
Okay.
one.
Okay. And I was going, oh, now I can actually, because I'm very visual. So the people that do not see the pictures in the book, you can go to his website and I'll put it in a link below, on YouTube and on Facebook so that you can see it. And this was one of your friends, right?
Exactly. This
Okay.
was Marik from the book, a German young girl who I've met during my journey. And I got to know her German mentality, and this is us together at Tempelhof Park.
And you know what? Look how happy you are. I mean, you just seem so happy. And I'm looking at these pictures, I'm going, he found his place because you just seem so comfortable and like you actually belong there. And on this picture, especially, it really does look like you're in the snow. And I know that it gets very, very cold there. But you look like you're just having a blast, that you're having a great time.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. The fact you gotta understand, even though I've been through so much, I've been through a lot during my immigration process, but the fact that I was already there was, for me was a blast. It was, I felt a huge relief once I landed on German soil,
mhm.
because once again there was no way I'm going to live in my native country. No way, no way. Once again, there is no price for freedom. There is no price for a better life. It's priceless. So I think in a way it's like winning the lottery. Uh, Now I've gained my stability. I have things now that and actually now I think this is the best decision I've made in my life. And I think it's great. And I think people um, should always think, okay, I live in my native country. Am I really happy? I pay taxes. Do I really know where those taxes are going? What kind of a relationship I have with the government? Those people, those politicians, do they really take care of me? Um, what about corruption? These are really, really important questions that every citizen should ask himself. And what is
Absolutely.
the ideology of your native country? Can you connect with that ideology? Because this is another important thing, and we live in a complex world, but you gotta find your own truth. You gotta find your path, because otherwise, it's going to be really, really hard for you. Even if you reach success, once again, and you're in a better environment, you will not be fully happy. And I think one of the fundamentals is to find that good environment. So it's not, it doesn't have to be to leave your native country. Maybe you can move to another city. That's also can be fine. It doesn't have to be so extreme, but always think about environment. Always think about the tools that you receive from your environment. Are you able to work on your self development, to move forward, to get that promotion, right? So I guess when you have the good environment, you can also focus on yourself mentally and physically too. That's the way I see it, and then move even forward.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much. What an inspiration. And you are such a role model. And I was going to ask you, what other advice do you have for the audience? But you've already said it. I mean, the inspiration behind moving and just moving to a city where you are the happiest. Okay, I've got to do a question wheel. Do you know about our question wheel? You probably don't. Okay. So the question will is the last question I'm going to ask you. And it may or may not be about your book or about you, just to kind of extend questions a little bit. Okay, let me show you what the will looks like. And the will is the one, it's almost like kind of like a game show, I guess you could say. And so I'm going to see what the will wants me to ask you. And that will be the last question, and it won't be a difficult question, I promise. Okay, so don't think it's actually factual or anything. So let me go ahead and spin it and see what question I'm going to ask you. Okay. Now you probably did not know that you were going to be asked this question, so I'll say it really fast. So the question is, and this is more metaphysical, spiritual, but do you believe in reincarnation?
Well, I do believe, let's say, you can say, in karma. I do believe that if we do good if we help others and we contribute and we inspire others, good things will come to us for sure. Now, as for reincarnation, you know, I cannot say for sure, but I do believe that there is a connection about, maybe the next generations. If we do good, then they will have the benefit too. I think, general speaking, you know, it's I really think that if you help others and if you do good to others, good will come to you. That's for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's how.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that answer. I know you weren't expecting it. So it's like, I always love to see what questions comes up because sometimes you just never know. But that's a great question. And I think that you are doing a great job helping others because I think that's one reason it is hard to write a book and to help others, and the way that you're doing it is fantastic. And also having this conversation to help others. So you are definitely doing that. Okay, so we have come to the end of the show as well. And what I do for the listeners is I do psychic readings because I'm a psychic medium, and the listeners love this part. Sometimes that's why they also come to listen to guests and also get readings. And I always leave it up to my host, and it no offense if you don't want it. But would you like me just to pull a card for you for a psychic reading?
Yes,
Okay.
be my guest. No problem.
A yes or no?
Sure, sure, no problem.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. I looked and you were shaking.
Sure, sure.
I'm going, okay, was that a yes? Okay. And have you had a psychic reading before?
Not that I know of. No, no.
Okay, okay. And a lot of people, especially our guests, because I did the inspiration show thinking I want everybody to learn the inspiration about people's lives. And they're not all psychic mediums, which I love because I think my listeners really hear about different inspirations. And I think there are so many people that are doing it just like you are. Okay. So, what a psychic reading is, and what I usually do is just like a one card reading. So it's very quick, and it's all about you. And my intention is what advice can I give to you for this week? Okay, and it's always fun to get that inspiration. It sometimes it makes you think, which is really good. And what I do is I get drawn for cards. I've got 3 different decks. Let me see. And let me tell you, you do have some very soothing energy, very laid back. Does that make any sense? It's like whenever I tap into your energy, sometimes I feel like nervousness. I'm not feeling anything from you, from your aura. Let me see. Okay. I'm being pulled, but believe it or not, the cosmic dancer. Okay. And it has a lot to do with movement. Okay. All right. And sometimes when I pull over the card, the saying may not be what I'm getting for you. Oh, okay. Okay. Like you need this more into your life. Okay. But what I'm really feeling from you, and when I look at the card and I'll show you the card in a few minutes, is how it relates to you, is you have done a lot of work. You've come a long way. You've gotten motivated. Sometimes it's hard to keep that pedal going, and that gas to keep going. So, really, for this week, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's being ecstatic, which means and you've already found that motivation, what inspires you, but keep going because I know that, it's very tiring to try to motivate others and it inspires others. And you've gotten into the place where, okay, I've reached so many of my goals. Keep making them. Does this relate to you? Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think
Okay.
that especially when I see myself as a person who didn't really finish his immigration process. I talk about stability. I talk about a lot of stuff in the book. Once again, I'm approaching 6 years now, in Berlin, Germany. But I think I have several years ahead, and this is and I feel exactly like you mentioned. I feel like I need to do to keep going
Mhm.
and to reach more goals. Absolutely.
Yes, I know, and it's always like, once you get up at the top of the mountain and you go, "Oh, I've made it." Now it's like, "Oh, what do I do now? I need to continue." So you need to remake those goals, keep it exciting, keep your life exciting. So, all right, well, thank you so much. And I do you have any other suggestions or something that we did not talk about before we say goodbye?
Well, yeah. Once again, thanks for the viewers. And the book is called Berlin's Immigration Secrets, available on Amazon. You can connect with me via LinkedIn. You can also check my Facebook page, Berlin's Immigration Secrets. If you do read the book, of course, enjoy it. This is the most important part, and highly appreciate it if you leave an honest review. Means a
That's what
lot.
I was about to say, and go on Amazon and do a review. Because that always have oh, Terry, let me show her comment just now. She said, "Thank you. You are interesting." So I love that. And I know that, I showed all the comments that were kept coming up and everything. And let me go ahead and read it for just the listeners real quick. My great granny and grandma, born and raised in Germany. So, see, you just never know who you really can relate to, who's relating to that. And then Tammy said, amazing, and beautiful of the land that we showed. And another thing is Tammy put, interesting. My husband been here in America for 30 years from his country. We've been married for 22 years. And I think being married for 22 years, that's a, a
Right.
great goal in itself as well. So again, thank you so much. And I'll put all those links so that if they go to Facebook or YouTube, they'll have the link to go to all your links that you just mentioned.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. So whenever I you disappear off the screen, you might have to leave the studio. Okay, but nice to meet you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right. See? Oh my goodness. I that is such great inspiration. And again, it is so difficult for me to leave the country. When I went to Australia, I really I loved visiting Australia, but again, I felt like out of my element. So I think it is wonderful that somebody can, get one suitcase, get your suitcase and get on a flight and go to a different country. So that is so awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and do some more readings. So if anybody wants a reading, oh, you know what? And as because there's always a delay in the from what I when you put a comment, I'm going to do some music to get some uplifting from rock and roll music. Yeah, I love listening to this. It kind of gets, and I've got, of course, I have to get the Snoopy. Let me find Snoopy. Where is Snoopy? Here we go. So I love that. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's get those readings done. Let me go ahead and read and see who is the comment. All right, so Tammy, let me start. And also Terry, absolutely. All right, Tammy, let's go with you first. Okay, my dear. And I know that I have been reading with you, Tammy, each week. So what I'm going to do, and I was really pulled for this. Okay, and I'm actually, I am actually feeling your energy, girl. I am feeling some excitement there, so which is really awesome. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to use my Lenormand cards, and I'm going to do it a little bit different. All right. So I'm going to see what advice that you need for this week and see what two cards come up. Okay, Tammy? I'm going to, because usually I look at the cards, but this time I am not. Okay. Oh, I love this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Tammy, the two cards that I have, because with Lenormand cards, they kind of, um, if you have two cards sitting by side, it kind of tells you a story. So the story of this week, the first card that I have for you is a compass. So you need to really listen to your intuition this week. Really feel that gut feeling. Don't think with your mind. Think with that gut feeling. Okay, because the second card is awesome. The second card is that if you follow the intuition of yours this week and make wonderful decisions made, of what feels right for you, you will have lots of luck. It's going to bring you, it's almost like you're going to manifest things to you. And so that's what you need to do this week. So that is advice. Okay. And I like the advice. It so again, if you are trying to make a decision or if you feel motivated to do something, follow the intuition because luck will come your way. I love that. All right, Tammy, I love it. I love it. I love how you're saying yay, okay, and beautiful. I love it. Yeah, so this is completely different than what I'm used to. I like to try different things, as you know. All right, Tammy. So you're welcome. So have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for your support and listening to the show. All right, so let's do you, Terry. All right, my dear. Okay. Okay, card number one. I feel like I'm at a disco, not a disco, at a casino. And number two. All right. Oh, interesting. I always like that to do that to people when you can't see the cards. Okay. So this definitely tells a story. Okay. So this week, Terry, okay, you're going to either you get a document or agree to something this week. Okay. And what you need to really do is really look into what you're agreeing to. And because whatever it is, it's going, what the clouds show you is that, especially what it's closest to, it was dark. Okay. Which means you may not understand the full meaning of what's being told to you. So whatever you do this week or this month, really pay attention to the decisions that you make or what you sign, because you may not, it may, whatever you're signing, it may not be clear. And ask questions, and definitely ask questions before you make a decision. Okay. All right. I love that. I love that. So that is definitely good advice for anybody, but Terry, especially for this week. Okay. All right. See, it was a little bit different reading. So definitely think about what decisions that you're going to make and make sure that is very clear, because see how these dark clear clouds become clear? That's exactly how it is. All right. I know it is very interesting in it. And so it kind of gets you thinking, doesn't it? And again, you may want to, whatever I tell you today, date it. And then when this actually happens, then you'll go, oh, that makes total sense. Okay. But you're welcome, Terry. You're welcome. All right. So let me see if there's anybody else that's on that wants to have another reading. And I'll just wait a few minutes before I go. But again, I appreciate you listening to the show, because it is a big inspiration when you see somebody that is inspired to do something and actually follows through. because that really, it's very, very difficult to find that spirit in, because it's scary, because everything is fear based. And so, and I really like how our guest, Erez, really followed through with what he felt like his spirit was calling him. And I know that that's why I love to have people on here that have a different vocabulary than a psychic medium. I know he didn't say my spirit was telling me to, and I'm going, oh, yes, your spirit was definitely telling you to do that. So, which is awesome. All right. So, again, next week, it will just be me without a guest. And then the following week, I will let you know who the guest is. And she is such an inspiration. She started her own business, clothing business. And of course, it's very difficult to do when life gets in the way, and life got in her way. But again, she powered through it and she got through it. So I'm really excited to bring her on next time. All right. So, again, many blessings. Have a wonderful week and stay cool. Okay. Especially if you live in Texas. I know it's across the country that everybody is just, it's July, guys. It's July. Now, if you're in Australia, though, it is cold because it's considered winter time. Okay. Just to let you know. So maybe we all need to like immigrate to Australia during the summer, especially if you live in Texas, and then come back afterwards when it's winter time. All right. Thank you guys. Many blessings to you, and thank you.